right, what's going on, everyone? Bryce Gelman here today, going to be grading and recapping what we have seen thus far from the Yankees in the 2024 offseason. There is a lot to be done. Let me just say that. I understand that the Yankees are not done yet. Real G's move in silence like they did with the Devin Williams trade. So there is more to be done for the Yankees. This is just meant to be a grade of what the Yankees have done thus far. The signing of Max Fried, the trade for Devin Williams, and the stuff that they haven't done yet, which we will get into. I'm going to propose a few things, but I wanted to grade what we have seen because it's December 17th. There are only a few weeks left in free agency. By next week, you'd like to think that the majority of the Yankees' top options are going to be off the board, but I digress. Let's get right into it because there is certainly a lot to discuss with just a few moves that they have made. The biggest thing, obviously, being the Yankees missed out on Juan Soto. I know that this is a video. This is a YouTube video that I'm putting out. I do a lot of live streams. I reacted to the Juan Soto deal in real time about 11 minutes after Andy Martino tweeted, Ors confirms Juan Soto to Mets. 10 minutes after I saw that, I was live. So check out my live streams if you like more hard-hitting, instant analysis. I do the videos every once in a while. I'm also on TikTok at Bryce G32. Just look up my name, Bryce Gelman. I'm on TikTok. I'm on everything. But I wanted to do this because I wanted to just get my thoughts out on what we've seen thus far and what I'd like to see going forward for the Yankees. And with the Juan Soto deal, you miss out on your best lefty bat and potentially one of your best lefty bats in franchise history. If you re-sign the guy, he's up there with Ruth. He's up there with Gehrig. If you bring the guy back, of course, the Yankees didn't. The Mets, Steve Cohen made a Godfather offer to bring him back for 15 years, a deal that could potentially get up to $850 million when you include everything along with the suite, all the other amenities that Steve Cohen is giving Juan Soto. The Yankees were never going to be able to live up to that contract. They never were going to be able to. Juan Soto was going to have to leave $50 to $100 million on the table to come back to the Yankees in spite of the deal with the Mets. And of course, as we know with Juan Soto, he cares about the money. And he took the biggest deal. So the Yankees had to pivot. The Yankees had to go to their plan B. And it had to be quick, considering the fact that the majority of their assets, the majority of their resources, the majority of their time spent was towards bringing back Juan Soto. Up until the start of the winter meetings. Keep in mind, remember this was the night before the winter meeting started. Juan Soto wanted to sign right before the meetings to make it a big deal, to make it the talk of the town when winter meetings started the next day. So he did, went to the Mets. Okay. The Yankees had to pivot. And what did they do? They went out and signed Max Fried, 30-year-old, turning 31 in January, next month, to an 8-year, $218 million deal. A 31-year-old pitcher to an 8-year deal. A guy that in the past has had some injury concerns. At 3 out of the last 4 years, he's pitched 28 or more appearances, started 28 or more times. That's great. Okay, terrific. Keep in mind what the Yankees just did 2 years ago in signing another lefty, Carlos Rodon, to 7 years, 160 or whatever so money. This is the biggest contract ever levied to a left-handed pitcher in Major League Baseball history. Of course, that is going to be short-lived when Tyrik Skubal gets his eventual deal, which is going to be for an exorbitant amount of money after what we saw with Juan Soto. But the Yankees went out and spent $218 million for a 31-year-old starting pitcher who's a lefty. You don't know how his game is going to translate to the New York market. You don't know how his game is going to progress over the course of the rest of his career, which he will be spending in pinstripes. I grade this move a C+. He's a great pitcher. Cole and Fried at the top of the lineup is going to be an amazing 1-2 punch. And getting Fried gives the Yankees, realistically, there's an argument to be made with the Mariners and how they develop pitching and whatnot and yada, yada, yada. But there's an argument to be made that the Yankees now have the best starting rotation in the American League. So you lost out on a guy who was going to bring you otherworldly offensive production, and you bring in a guy who's going to bolster your pitching staff. I don't hate the move. It was what was available at the time. You knew Fried was going to sign, in the immediate future. He wanted to get the deal done early. He had the Red Sox interested as well, among other teams. And the Yankees had to go up to 8 years to get him. That's what it took. You know what? So be it. But that whole mindset in the first place is why I'm grading this a C+. It's the epic. Screw it. We lost out on Soto. Let's spend our money elsewhere and bring in a top-of-the-line lefty starter. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Otherwise, I would have graded it an F. C+ is fair. The Yankees, over the course of the next 4 or 5 years, need to get 1 or 2 in the rotation level production from Max Fried, or else this deal is not worth it. If he doesn't live up to the contract early on in it, they are going to be saddled with that money, and they will look back and highly, highly regret ever signing Max Fried. So it is essential that he performs well at the start of the contract. And it's also essential that the Yankees go out and they acquire good enough players to compete in the next 3 or 4 years, because they need to be all in. With the contracts that they have on the books, with Garrett Cole under contract for the next 4 years, Aaron Judge under contract for the next 7 years, Giancarlo Stanton still under contract for the next few years. All these guys, you could make the argument that Stanton's past his prime. You can make the same argument with Garrett Cole. What you can say is the Yankees' best players, the guys that they have given out the most money to, are nearing the ends of their prime. So you got to make moves now. And to get the best players these days, you have to give term. And that's exactly what the Yankees did here. C+. C+. Fine. Okay. So be it. So be it. The Yankees spent. We're not complaining. Right. The next move they made, which was out of nowhere, this past Friday, I did not see it coming. I don't think a lot of people out there, a lot of people who cover the Yankees, a lot of people who talk Yankees 24/7, saw this coming. The Yankees went out, traded Nestor Cortez, playoff or World Series choker, and Caleb Durbin, a fast rising star in the Yankees farm system. They wouldn't shut up about him. Maybe that's what gave him a little bit more value here. The PR team did their jobs. Or maybe he's just a really good player. But Caleb Durbin, the 5'6" utility man infielder, and Nestor Cortez for a top 3 closer in baseball in Devin Williams, who is on an expiring deal, who will get paid next offseason in free agency. But the Yankees have a top 3 closer in baseball. You can make the argument for top 2. And it came out of nowhere. It did. And I like it. I like the deal. And I'm going to give it an A-. I think when you go out and make a commitment like that to a talent that they know is going to produce, there is no question mark attached to Williams. He's got one of the best, I'm not even going to say one of the best. He's the best changeup in baseball. The best changeup in baseball. They call it the airbender, or whatever the hell. And a really plus fastball. This is a great move. I'd like to see the Yankees lock him up long term, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. For now, A-, good deal. It remains to be seen what Caleb Durbin is. If the Yankees did BS the hell out of his value, that he isn't going to be a good player. But the Yankees had to pivot away from him being penciled in as the de facto second baseman in the lineup to look elsewhere. Hey, Jack Curry said it less than a month ago, a few weeks ago, that people within the organization are high on Caleb Durbin to be the franchise's second baseman going forward. Of course, that's all out of the window with him being traded to the Brewers. So I give it an A-, because it's not an A or an A+, because you don't know what Durbin's going to be. Nestor Ostlevies to don't let the door hit you on the way out. Good Yankee, but choked in the biggest moment of his career. So sucks, whatever. Moving on. Those are the 2 moves the Yankees have made thus far. Now let's look into what they haven't done yet, which is acquire lefty batters, acquire a first baseman, acquire a second baseman or third baseman, depending on where they like to play Jazz Chisholm, and acquiring a third outfielder, assuming that Jason Dominguez will be penciled in as a center fielder and Judge will be moved back to right field with Juan Soto off the team. There are a bunch of different options the Yankees could look at to acquire at first base, at second base, and in the outfield. The main guy that they're currently looking at and in trade negotiations with, or for, is Cody Bellinger of the Chicago Cubs. A guy in which I'm assuming the Yankees have had their eye on for a long period of time. A guy who obviously is not the player that he was earlier on in his career in Los Angeles. But he is still a really good option in this lineup. But not as a standalone option. I really thought that Cody Bellinger would have looked amazing in the lineup had they brought back Juan Soto. Of course, with that not coming to fruition, the Yankees are pivoting and they're looking at Bellinger, but he cannot be the one guy that you acquire as a lefty batter in the lineup. He cannot be. And there are a bunch of other options that they can go out and get as well on the free agent market. Not necessarily just in a trade. You got Jock Peterson. You got Anthony Santander. You got Jurickson Profar. You got a bunch of different options that you can go out and get. Of course, the three guys I mentioned are all coming off career years. All their highest OPS in their careers. So the Yankees are going to have to pay a pretty penny for these guys. Another guy they could go out and get, a lot of people who cover the Yankees have been floating, is Josh Naylor of the Guardians. A first baseman, 30-plus home runs, 100 RBI guy, 325 on base percentage. 325. And you'd like to think that number will increase alongside Aaron Judge in the lineup, but keep in mind, he plays right next to Jose Ramirez, who a lot of people think is one of the most underrated guys in all of baseball. So it's not like there's a massive upgrade from Judge to Ramirez. Those are two of the three best hitters in the American League. Either way, bringing in a guy like Naylor, albeit he strikes out a lot, doesn't get on base a lot, and is a complete deviation from what Juan Soto brought to the team, is a good consolation prize at first base. As I said, I can't just have Bellinger. I need more. Yes, the Yankees have plenty of holes to fill on their roster right now. And there are still moves to be made. We know that the Yankees are not done in free agency. Hopefully they're not nearly done. Because another area that they need to address is their lack of depth. When was the last time a Yankees team had a few platoon guys off the bench who you could just throw in at any point knowing they could hit either lefties or righties? One guy that comes to mind in 2022, Matt Carpenter. Why haven't they tried to replicate at least some of that success? We knew that was unsustainable with Matt Carpenter hitting a bajillion home runs and having 1,100 OPS. We knew that was not sustainable going forward, but to not try that out with other guys, to not at the trade deadline last year go out and acquire a platoon guy, a guy who can hit lefties, a guy who can hit righties, really didn't make sense to me at the time. And I think that it is one of my biggest needs, my biggest asks for Brian Cashman and this front office. It's for the Yankees to go out and acquire some freaking depth. To know that when it matters the most in the postseason, in close games, in the regular season, you've got a guy to bring off the bench who hits lefties well, who hits righties well. The Yankees didn't have that last year. Who was the guy you were bringing in? LeMahieu was dead. Trent Grisham can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Who else? Dominguez wasn't ready, apparently. That's huge for me. It's huge. Of course, you need the lefty production in the lineup. You desperately need it. Good that they traded for Jazz Chisholm. Good that they're going to have Jason Dominguez in the lineup, who's a switch hitter. Good that you have Austin Wells, who is a lefty, as your catcher. for the foreseeable future. I need more. I need Bellinger. I need Jock Peterson. I need more. So as of right now, as it stands, this Yankees offseason, I know I just mentioned I gave the Fried signing a C+, and I gave Devin Williams an A-. So naturally, I'm going to give this Yankees offseason a C. Not based off what they've done, but based off what they haven't done yet. They're still haggling with the Cubs over a few $1 million when it comes to Cody Bellinger, even though he's only under contract for the next 2 years, and with the 2026 option. $25 million buyout. They're still haggling with the Cubs, trying to save a few $1 million, and that's why the move hasn't been made yet. Okay, fine. But it has to be made. You can't let them get cold feet and pivot and trade him elsewhere. It's not like Bellinger is this otherworldly type talent anymore, again, with the low on-base percentage. But still, it is great to have a guy like that on your team. You know you could plug him in at first base. If the Yankees don't go out, trade for Naylor. If they don't go out and sign Peterson, you know what I mean. They could sub in. They could insert Cody Bellinger in a multitude of areas across the diamond. That's the type of guy you want on your team. The Yankees, of course, they lost Rizzo. And it appears that they're going to be losing Gleyber Torres, barring a huge sacrifice on his end. I'm surprised he hasn't signed yet. Maybe the value that he thought was going to be out there for him is just not. But the Yankees have an opportunity with losing Rizzo and losing an awful fielder and base runner and Gleyber Torres to get better at base running, to get better at striking out a lot. And the best options on the market are high strikeout guys. And it's unfortunate that you lost a guy like Juan Soto with an otherworldly on-base percentage and OPS and crazy consistency that we have not seen over many careers at the start of careers. You know, Albert Pujols, like Miguel Cabrera. Those are two names that come to mind that rival what we've seen. Mike Trout, that rival what we've seen from Juan Soto. But even if you have high strikeout guys, it's better to have lefties than no lefties. Why did the Yankees consistently fail 2023, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18? Why did they fail? Why did they fail? Because how flawed their lineup was built. It was never because, the starting pitching sucked up until 2021. Up until they signed Garrett Cole, the starting pitching was suspect with Luis Severino as the top end arm. That was it. It was suspect. It was not good. So that was, of course, an issue. But what above that was consistently the biggest issue for the Yankees? Lineup construction. Lefty bats. Big lefty bats. Power lefty bats. And I'm not talking Joey Gallo, who fell off the face of the earth with the Yankees. And whoever the hell he signed with after the Yankees cut his sorry ass. I'm not talking him. I'm not talking Rizzo, who, yes, that was a smart move. That was a good move to make. You got a lefty bat. What success came from that? Nothing. None. I need 2 or 3 lefties acquired this offseason. I need Bellinger. I need Jock. I need Naylor. I don't care who it is. I need 2. And again, there's a lot of time left. I'm not losing my mind here. I'm not sitting here telling you the sky is falling. The Yankees are done. They've still got a lot of talent on this roster. And arguably the best pitching staff in the entire American League. But with the lineup that they currently have, as it stands, do you realistically expect to compete with the likes of the Dodgers, with the likes of the Rangers even. Speaking of the Rangers, how does passing up on Corey Seager look now? How does that look? For that deal too? Is it 10 years, $300 million? Unbelievable. With how much money Juan Soto got. Instead of paying Bryce Harper, instead of paying Corey Seager, the Yankees opted to wait to sign Juan Soto. And guess what, guys? They didn't sign him. They didn't sign him. A catastrophic organizational failure from the Yankees with how this all turned out. So now what the hell are you going to do? You bolster the pitching staff. You make sure that that's set. And the Yankees have done that. But the Achilles heel of this team has been depth, lack of lefty bats, and flawed lineup construction. And all three of those things work together. So let's see it. Let's see what Brian Cashman has up his sleeve. Let's see if there's another move out there to be made that we haven't thought of that could be made. I'm intrigued. I'm cautiously optimistic for what could potentially transpire over the course of the next few weeks, leading up to when pitchers and catchers report in February. Anyways, I'm Bryce Gelman, and I'd like to see some positives from this team. I'd like to see something that could make me excited about March and April in the Bronx. That could get me to the stadium. That could get me to pay $25, $30 for a chicken bucket, $100 on a seat to watch a team without Juan Soto. So, first move in all that is to acquire some lefty bats to make this lineup more balanced. And we'll see if the Yankees and Brian Cashman are going to do it, are going to continue to spend, are going to make the big trade. We'll see. But anyways, I'm Bryce Gelman. Again, as I said, I do a lot of live streams. I do TikToks, all that stuff. You could see on my Twitter. When I go live, you could see it on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, or YouTube as well. Whatever floats your boat. And the TikTok at Bryce Gelman. So check out any of my stuff. If you enjoyed this, drop a subscription, a comment down below, and I'll answer whatever you guys give me. So until next time, let's go Yankees, let's go Knicks, and let's go any team playing the Giants. Talk to you all soon.